This is VOA News. I'm Joe Palca. At least 5 people were killed and 9 others injured Thursday in a car bomb blast outside of a restaurant in Mogadishu near Somalia's presidential palace. Casualty totals come from security officials and the owner of the Dalsan restaurant where the explosion occurred. The owner told VOA's Somali service that the blast came from an explosives-laden car parked on the street. South Korean President Moon Jae-in says he's ready to step in and be the mediator between the U.S. and North Korea after the two nations failed to reach an agreement in Hanoi last week. However, it remains to be seen what the South Korean leader can do to move U.S. President Donald Trump and the North Korean leader closer to a deal they can be happy with. President Trump registered his disappointment yesterday with the apparent efforts of Kim Jong-un to restore part of a missile launch site.
I would be very, very disappointed in Chairman Kim, and I don't think I will be, but we'll see what happens.
Reuters Korea Bureau Chief So-young Kim talked about why the talks broke down.
From North Korea's point of view, they already went above and beyond their duty by voluntarily destroying nuclear test site at Punggye and starting to dismantle Seohae. They now feel that the U.S. has not taken reciprocal action, and they might be trying to signal to the United States that if there is no deal, North Korea will carry on with the weapons program.
Martha McSally, the United States' first female fighter pilot in combat, now a U.S. senator, said during a hearing Wednesday she was raped by a superior in the Air Force. She said she didn't report the assault because, like many other victims, she didn't trust the system. Years later, she said she spoke up about the attack and was appalled at the way the military hierarchy handled her news. McSally said the experience galvanized her resolve to advocate for sexual assault victims in the military, using her legislative position to work for change. A top French cardinal announced his resignation Thursday after being found guilty of covering up a pedophilia scandal involving a priest in his diocese. From Paris, Lisa Bryant has more on the verdict, issued shortly after a landmark sexual abuse summit at the Vatican.
In a statement to the media shortly after being handed a 6-month suspended prison term, Cardinal Philippe Barbaras said he would be submitting his resignation to Pope Francis within days. Barbaras said independently of his personal fate, he wanted to express compassion for sexual abuse victims in his diocese of Lyon. He said they and their families would be in his prayers.
Oui, je le confirme. J'assiste.
One of Barbaras' lawyers, Jean-Félix Luciani, told French radio the cardinal would appeal the conviction. Lisa Bryant for VOA News, Paris.
A top Vatican official, Australian Cardinal George Pell, was recently convicted of sexual abuse. Both verdicts follow Pope Francis's high-level Vatican meeting on the issue last month. This is VOA News. U.S. President Donald Trump's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, testified Wednesday for a 4th time before a congressional panel, continuing to answer questions about his decade-long role as Trump's fixer. And today is the day for President Trump's former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, to be sentenced for tax and bank fraud. He'll be facing the very real possibility he'll be spending the rest of his life in prison. Under federal sentencing guidelines, Manafort could receive a 20-year sentence on Thursday, although most observers expect he will receive less than that. Alex Trebek, who has evolved into something of a television icon since taking over the Jeopardy TV game show about 35 years ago, had some sad news yesterday. He announced to his television audience that he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
Now, normally the prognosis for this is not very encouraging, but I'm going to fight this.
Even going so far as to inject humor into his having what is, statistically speaking, a severe, rare, but very aggressive form of cancer.
I plan to beat the low survival rate statistics for this disease. Truth told, I have to, because under the terms of my contract, I have to host Jeopardy for 3 more years.
Doctors say there's no screening for pancreatic cancer because it is so rare. It's one of the most difficult cancers to diagnose because it progresses so rapidly. Pat Sajak of Wheel of Fortune fame announced via Twitter that he's saddened to hear the news.
So help me. Keep the faith, and we'll win.
I'm Joe Palca. This is VOA News.